All right, welcome back to video 2 of a 94-part series on how to work from Lightroom to Photoshop. So we're in Photoshop now. How do I know? Because whatever program I'm in, it will tell me in the top corner. Photoshop. Right. We were in Lightroom, we right-clicked and said Edit in Photoshop, and we came into Photoshop. We have our layers, our adjustments, our history, and our properties. These are the big 4 panels you're going to need. If you don't have them, they're under Window. Okay? Also, if you are confused at all, that's totally normal, and you can go back to your modules and work all the way down to a Photoshop video list that will give you some introductions. They're very short videos from Adobe, and these PDFs that were prepared from Adobe, and they are excerpts from the Classroom in a Book for Photoshop. All right, so we've got lots of material to make you feel pretty comfortable. And then I have a couple handouts that I will give you too. Okay. All right. So one of the things we're going to do for this project is make them black and white in Photoshop. And how we're going to do that is first row, second row, middle one, we're going to use a black and white adjustment layer. So let's talk about what just happened there. I clicked on this little icon and it gave me a new layer. An adjustment layer is a layer that you can make it black and white or curves, you get all sorts of options, and it applies a change, but it doesn't make it sticky. Meaning, if I don't want this black and white, all I have to do is turn the eye off or click on the layer and hit delete. Right? So this is one way of working in a non-destructive way, because the minute you make this black and white for good, your client wants it in color, right? Or you changed your mind. And especially in this case, because you've got such great colors, it would kind of be a shame to make it black and white for good. We don't need to, because you can do it in a non-destructive way, and adjustment layers are the way to do that. So once you make a black and white layer, it just gives you your default settings. All right, so let's zoom in a little here. And you'll see we have all of these sliders, which correspond to different luminosity values in the image. So you can use these sliders to change the way that the colors are represented in black and white luminosity. Now, you might be like, what? How do I know what slider does what? You don't have to. I'll show you the cool thing. So let's reset it. Grab this guy. See the little scrubby hand? This is the targeted adjustment tool. And excuse me, what's so great about it is, say I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I want this to be a darker and this to be lighter and this to be darker. Grab this little hand and drag it in that area. And it will pick the slider for you. You don't even have to know. Right? You can see, so what is this letting you do is affect individual parts of an image, and it's picking the slider for you. So that is a great way to work. One of the hard parts about working from color and going into black and white is you can have on a dark green shirt with some dark red pants, and they look great in color, and then when you put them into black and white, because it's just luminosity, it's just brightness, they'll look like the same color. So we need to make sure that we're separating our colors and getting enough contrast. So I might add a little bit more there. Okay. Now, the other thing that we didn't do in Lightroom that we need to do is add a curves layer. Now, a curves layer is going to work with our contrast, which is the difference between lights and darks. Now, I'm going to create that, and I know for me, I never used the curves layer because I was terrified. I'm like, I don't know what to do. You can do so much damage with it just by clicking, and then that's your image, and then maybe you drag a bunch of stuff off, and you're like, okay, that's it. Here, that's exactly what I want. No, don't even worry about it. Just go to default and grab, guess what? The little scrubby hand, the targeted adjustment tool, which again assumes that you want to work in the image. So I know I want this to be a little higher contrast, I'm going to work with that. Lighten this up a little bit maybe. And what I've done is created an S-curve. And an S-curve increases the contrast. And then if I want to play with it more, I can grab those little dots on there, those little points, and I can push and pull them around. So if I've gone too far, say I go like this, and you're like, yeah, I love that. That is super cool. It is super cool, but it's also very high contrast. And one of the things that you don't want is to lose your midtones, right? In this case, to lose that beautiful range of gray. So what you can do about that is either fix it here or go into your layers panel, grab the curves layer, and check the opacity of the layer. And you see how the hand turns into a double-sided arrow? You can take the opacity down. You can also click here for a slider if you feel more comfortable. And what that will do is instead of being like crazy graphic, you can bring it down a little bit so you're still getting that contrast, but maybe a little less of it. And I think as you get accustomed to using the tools and you start to feel more familiar, you'll be able to, work with this properties panel and then also the opacity to get exactly what you want. All right, so those are our first two steps.